Good evening, everyone. Shavua Tov. Ironically, this evening, I'd like to discuss some of our morning prayers. In our morning prayers, we thank God for Nisim Bechol Yom, our daily miracles. Things we often take for granted: opening our eyes, being able to rise up out of bed, having clothes to put on. Towards the end of the list of blessings, we have 3 blessings sometimes referred to as the identity blessings. They include being a free person, being a Jew, and being created B'Tselem Elohim, made in the image of God. For me, as a transgender Jew, the concept of B'Tselem Elohim has caused me conflict through the years. My Jewish journey started in 1997 when I still thought that I identified as female. Attending services at Orthodox congregations, I found myself assigned to the women's section, behind a sort of barrier called the mechitza. The services, including the Torah reading, were conducted on the men's side. At first, I was offended by what seemed to be a misogynistic practice. Over time, as I became both gender non-conforming as well as more active in my Jewish community, I began to feel trapped by the mechitza. When I met with my Beit Din for formal conversion to Judaism, I was told I needed to adhere more to the traditional standards for presentation for Jewish women before I could proceed. It felt like a condemnation. For me, living as a Jewish woman was not an option. Living as a gender non-conforming Jewish person also seemed off limits. Ultimately, I left Judaism altogether. Time went forward, and my conflict between my assigned gender and my presentation grew into gender dysphoria. The opposite of euphoria, dysphoria is the state of complete and utter dis-ease and discomfort. For some trans people, it can be crippling. Research and some nudging from friends led me to discover what it meant to be transgender, and there was a solution to the problem of my gender identity not aligning unambiguously with my assigned sex at birth. It was called transitioning, the overwhelming task of moving from one gender to the other. Still, though, what to do about the fact that I had been made in God's image? I've been told I was spitting in God's face by transitioning from female to male. I was told by a straight female friend that she could never date a trans man because God had made them a woman, and that sort of relationship is forbidden. But what does it mean to be made in the image of God? While the Torah mentions seeing God's face or back, it seems to me unreasonable that the omnipotent ruler of the universe has a physical body. So do we mean the soul? The personality? Looking at the creation of the first human, Adam, in Genesis 1:27, we see that God created Adam in God's own image. Male and female, God created them. So, was the first human androgynous? We certainly assign both female and male emotions and parenting roles to God. Does being B'Tselem Elohim refer to our abilities to encompass various combinations of sex, gender identity, gender roles, and emotions? I didn't come here tonight with the answer to these questions. All I know is that God created me, and God doesn't make mistakes. I'll refer to another prayer that's helped me to resolve these struggles. Elohai Neshama, recited directly before Nisim Bechol Yom. My God, the soul you have given me is pure. You created it, you shaped it, you breathed it into me, and you protect it within me. I offer thanks to you, Adonai, my God and God of my ancestors, source of all creation, sovereign of all souls. Praised are you, Adonai, in whose hand is every living soul and the breath of humankind. For some reason, God made me transgender. It has not been easy. To this day, I occasionally still have angry conversations with God about why I would be put on such a difficult path. But God made me, and God doesn't make mistakes. I had to resolve that before I could reapproach my conversion to Judaism. In 2018, I discovered an amazingly inclusive community in both Temple Sholem and Anshe Emet of Chicago. There is no mechitza in either building. I was welcomed and embraced by my conversion sponsor, Rabbi Gelman, and other clergy at Temple Sholem. Staff members listened to me when I came to them with concerns about creating gender-neutral bathrooms and signage in the building. When it came time for my conversion to be finalized, the subject of Hatifat Dam Brit for a trans man was tackled unflinchingly and with discretion. At my naming and bar mitzvah, I achieved something that at one point in my past I thought I would never be allowed to do. I read from the Torah. This year marks 6 years since I came out as transgender and started my transition. When I recite the daily miracles, I give special note to being thankful that I was made in the image of God. I'd like to share that blessing with you now. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asani b'tselem Elohim. Praised are you, Lord our God, ruler of the universe, who made me in the image of God. Thank you.